Hello everyone, welcome to Advanced Knowledge System and a warm welcome to AKS IAS Academy, which is one of the premier institutions in India, and it offers examination coaching for UPSC CSE, State Public Service Commission, SSC Combined Graduate Level and CLAT examination. About me, I am Sandeep Bhushan and my credentials are I have 10 years of teaching experience for civil services. I take up international relations and internal security and the analysis of the Hindu newspaper. And this session is the DNA of the Hindu newspaper of today's, that is the 9th of January 2021. And this session will help you because I would be emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases from the newspaper, and we will identify the factual, analytical and conceptual questions which will be useful for prelims as well as mains examinations for 2021. And before we get into the DNA of the newspaper, we will focus at the quote of the day, and the quote of the day is, don't stop when you are tired, stop when you are done. So make sure that you are not having any kind of hurdles that is making you to stop, but the hurdles has to be crossed over and you should be done with your success. So don't stop when you're tired, stop when you're done. And now we'll get into the daily news analysis of the Hindu newspaper, and the topic is that the farmers agitation, and wherein the center was certainly trying to overcome the farmers issue by having a talks, but we have seen the 8th round of talks between the center and the farmers union have also ended up with not any kind of resolution, and the stalemate is ongoing. And this agitation by the farmers was in regards to repealing the three farm reform laws which have been enacted by the government of India. So now, after the 8th round of talks which were inconclusive without any resolution, now the 9th round of talks would be held on January 15th. But the 9th round of talks will be held on January 15th only after the Supreme Court's hearing on the issue, that is the agitation by the farmers on the three farm reforms laws. And the Supreme Court is or would hear the issue, which is likely to be held on January 19th, and after the Supreme Court's hearing, which would be falling on the January 19th, the 9th round of talks between the center and the farmers unions would be held on January 15th. So here what is crucial information is that in the entire deadlock between the center and the farmers union talks in regards to the farm reform laws, now the Supreme Court has come into the existence. So there would be an hearing on the issue of the farmers which they are having concerns in regards to the three farm reform laws. Now it is the Supreme Court's intervention, and the minister, that is Mr. Tomar, has made it very clear in the meeting addressing to the journalist, saying that in our democracy, that is in the Indian democracy, the Parliament of India makes the laws, but the Supreme Court has every right to examine it. So look at the key phrase here. The Supreme Court has every right to examine it is the statement made by the minister, that is Mr. Tomar. So there is a possibility that the Supreme Court might intervene in the deadlock or the impasse between the center and the farmers union in regards to the three farm laws, wherein there is no resolution or a deadlock, wherein all the talks, 8 round of talks, were inconclusive. So the Supreme Court, as per Mr. Tomar, says that the Supreme Court has every right to examine it, and he makes it very clear that whatever decision the Supreme Court has the verdict, the government is committed to the verdict of the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court is now in the picture and it would intervene in having a solution for the inconclusive talks between the center and the farmers union. But the farmer leaders or the farmer union leaders have said that they are not happy with the Supreme Court having or intervening into the farmers laws, because the farmer leader says that the policy issues should not be decided by the court, but rather the Supreme Court can go ahead with examining the constitutional validity of the laws. Here the another key phrase is the constitutional validity of the laws is the one which the farmers leaders or the unions are saying that the policy issues has to be discussed with the parliament or the government of India, but the courts can examine the constitutional validity of the laws. But they are against the statement made by the minister, that is Mr. Thomer, who says that the parliament, in a democracy, parliament makes the laws and the Supreme Court has every right to examine it. So there could be a question in the mains in the future 2021, in our democracy or in Indian democracy, the parliament makes laws and the Supreme Court has every right to examine it, discuss. So there could be a possibility for the mains in regards to making sure that we are having the combination of the executive and the judiciary in our democratic country. So that can be a possibility. So focus this from agriculture and also from polity perspective. And the another news which talks about is the Mumbai attack mastermind and the Lashkar-e-Taiba commander Zakir Rahman Lakwi was sentenced for 5-year jail term by the Pakistani anti-terrorist court for terror financing cases, because there was lot of pressure, that is the international pressure on Pakistan to bring to justice about the terrorist or the Mumbai attack mastermind and the commander of Lashkar-e-Taiba, that is Zakir Rahman Lakwi, who is roaming free in Pakistan. So because of the mounting international pressure, the Pakistan anti-terrorist court has sentenced 5-year jail term to Zakir Rahman Lakwi, that is Lashkar-e-Taiba commander. And the anti-terrorist court of Lahore, that is ATC, has convicted Lakwi for commission of offences of terrorism financing. So it is based on the terrorism financing or in regards to financing the terrorist activities, and a case is being registered by the counter-terrorism department for 15 years, and they have registered the case under different section of Anti-Terrorism Act 1997. So this is the keyword wherein the Anti-Terrorism Court Lahore has registered the counter-terrorism department under sections Anti-Terrorism Act 1997 and the mastermind of Mumbai attack and the commander of Lashkar-e-Taiba, Zakir Rahman, has been sentenced to 5 years jail term. So this news is in regards to the internal security, and he has been also imprisoned for 6 months because he was the default of payment of fine by the Supreme Court of Pakistan, and he was also accused of running a dispensary and using that funds by the dispensary which was collected for terrorism financing. And the anti-terrorism court has also directed the law enforcement agencies to arrest the co-accused along with Zakir Rahman Lakwi, that is Abu Anas Mohsin. So along with Zakir Rahman Lakwi, the anti-terrorism court Lahore has also directed the law enforcement agencies to arrest Abu Anas Mohsin also. And the statement or the directions by the anti-terrorism code has been welcomed by US in regards to the arresting Lakshmi and Abu Anas Mohsin. But US says that Pakistan should try Zakir Rahman Lakshmi not in regards to terrorism financing, but also along with terrorism financing, he should be tried, arrested under or for Mumbai attacks. And if you look at Zakir Rahman Lakshmi, who was on bail, he has come out on bail in 2015, wherein he was first arrested for the Mumbai attack cases. And Zakir Rahman Lakshmi is designated as a global terrorist by United Nations in December 2008 because he has been associated with Lashkar-e-Taiba and Al-Qaeda. Thereby, Zakir Rahman is a designated global terrorist by UN in the year 2008. And the another news is that there has been a launch, that is the Science and Technology Hyderabad cluster has been launched, and this is one of the 4 geographical clusters which have been proposed by the Prime Minister's Science, Technology and Innovation Advisory Council, that is PMSTIC. And this cluster, that is Hyderabad cluster, which is Science and Technology cluster, is one of the 4, and this is launched because it would boost science, research and innovation, and this boosting of science and research and innovation would take place through collaborative environment. And this proposal of launching the Science and Technology Hyderabad cluster will be led by Research and Innovation Circle of Hyderabad, that is RICH, Research and Innovation Circle of Hyderabad, and the Prime Minister's Science, Technology and Innovation Advisory Council, that is PMSTIAC, has recommended the setting up of the clusters, that is 4 clusters in geographical situation in India, that is the 4 clusters are in Hyderabad, Bengaluru, the National Capital Region, that is Delhi and Pune. And this setting up of the clusters is a measure to encourage scientific enterprise, and it will also encourage individual institutional excellence. And this measure to encourage scientific enterprise and individual institutional excellence would create collective performance, or this will lead to collective performance of science and technology. And the cities which are considered as the clusters, they would have, or these cities have a strong organizations, they have a strong institutions, and they have a strong industries. And these organizations, institutions and industries in the 4 cities are focused on science and technology. That is why the 3, or along with Hyderabad, 3 cities have been considered for the science and technology cluster. And the mega clusters, that is the 4 cities, would create a strong linkages between existing networks of academic institutions and national research laboratories. So there would be a strong linkage between the existing academic institutions and national research laboratories, and it will also have a strong linkage with relevant ministries, industry partners, state governments, philanthropic foundation, and also along with the International Institute of Excellence. So these are the reasons why the mega clusters have been created, that is the science and technology clusters in India by the Prime Minister's Science, Technology and Innovation Advisory Council. And the objective of the mega clusters is to bring together the islands of excellence, which the island of excellence has spread across the academia, industry, and the government. So all the excellence, that is to bring together, coordinate to everyone, or to bring under one umbrella of the academicians, industry, and government, by a concept of island of excellence to come together. And the objective is to create a collaborative and enabling and flexible environment. And this enabling and flexible environment would breed the cutting edge scientific research in Indian universities and in Indian research labs. So there would be a collaborative and a flexible environment for the scientific research in Indian universities and Indian research lab. And the objective is to lead a technological innovation and entrepreneurship, and this will create a seamless leverage of complementary strength in science and technology. So the launching of the Science and Technology Hyderabad cluster and the 4 mega clusters in the 4 cities by the Prime Minister's Science, Technology and Innovation Advisory Council is very important, so that it will go ahead with encouraging scientific enterprise, and it will also encourage individual institutional excellence along with international institution of excellence. And this is part of science and technology from UPSC prelims and mains perspective, wherein it is by the Prime Minister Science and Technology Innovation Advisory Council. And the another news is that there is a finding and a study by the United Service Institution of India. So a study or a finding conducted by the United Service Institution of India, which is a think tank of Indian Army. It says that over half of the Indian Army personnel are under severe stress. So what is the reason for the Army personnel to be under severe stress? Because there is lot of stress, significant increase of stress levels in the Indian Army personnel in the last 2 decades, and this is due to operational and non-operational stresses. So because of the operational and non-operational stresses, over half of the Army personnel are under severe stress, and because they are under severe stress, the Army has been losing more personnel every year because of suicides, fratricides, and untoward incidents, rather than the Indian Army losing the Army personnel because of any kind of enemy or terrorist activities. Indian Army personnel we are losing because of the suicides, fratricides, and untoward incidents. So fratricides is that a person, an individual would go ahead with attacking or killing his or her brother or sister or close relatives. So this is the kind of stress which is on to the Army personnel, and this is according to the findings of a study by United Service Institution of India. And this study also exhibits that prolonged exposure of Indian Army personnel to counter insurgency and counter terrorism environment is one of the contributory factors for increase or enormous stress levels in the Indian Army personnel. So we know that there is a stress according to the findings, but the reasons are because of the prolonged exposure of the personnel to the counter insurgency and counter terrorism. And the study also observes that the overall job satisfaction and pride in uniform remains high even though there is prolonged exposure and there is high level of stress. But there is a growing matter of concern among the officers, and this requires an urgent intervention by the highest level of the government of India, because we know that there is a job satisfaction and pride in uniform which is very high in the JCOs, that is junior commissioned officers and other ranks, but among the officers there is a matter of concern, and this challenge has to be met by having an urgent intervention by the highest levels of government. And if you look at, as per the findings, the units and subunits in the Indian Army are under stress, and they're likely to witness a increased number of incidents, that is the incidents such as indiscipline, unsatisfactory state of training, inadequate maintenance of equipment, low morale, motivation and esprit de corps, and these are the incidents which are likely to witness in the units and subunits of Indian Army because of the increase in stress levels, and thereby the result of it would be the adverse effect on the combat preparedness and operational performance on the Indian Army personnel. So there is an urgent intervention, and the need of the hour is the urgent intervention from the highest level of government to make sure that the stress levels are reduced, because Indian Army personnel, we are losing our Indian Army personnel not because of the enemy or terrorist activities, but because of suicides, fratricides and untoward incidents. And the another news is that you have a news in regards to the South Asia multilateral meet, and China has conducted the third edition of South Asia multilateral dialogue with South Asian countries, and this dialogue would take forward closer cooperation on fighting COVID-19 pandemic and coordinating the economic agenda of the South Asian countries. And this multilateral dialogue by China is certainly reflecting a new approach of China, that is a new approach in Beijing's outreach to the South Asia region. So certainly a close cooperation on fighting COVID-19 and coordinating the economic agendas of the South Asia is reflecting a new approach or Chinese or Beijing's outreach to the South Asia. This is part of the China's foreign policy. And the third dialogue, which has taken place on January 6th, has brought all the South Asian countries together in regards to the South Asia multilateral meet, but India, Bhutan and Maldives have not been an attendee of the South Asia multilateral meet, which was the third South Asia multilateral dialogue. And the third dialogue, the aim of the third dialogue was anti-epidemic cooperation and poverty reduction cooperation. So these are the two keywords which are part of the South Asia multilateral meet, is aiming at anti-epidemic cooperation and poverty reduction cooperation amongst the South Asian countries. And all the three dialogues which have been attended by Pakistan and Nepal. So the countries which have attended all the three, that is earlier two, and the one which has taken, that is the third one on January 6, 2021, it is Pakistan and Nepal which has attended all the three dialogue of the South Asia multilateral dialogues. And this makes it, or it is reflecting that Pakistan and Nepal are emerging as the two linchpins in China's regional strategy. This is a keyword. So which are the two countries in the South Asian of the South Asia multilateral dialogue which are emerging as the two linchpins in China's regional strategy is Pakistan and Nepal. And the first multilateral dialogue, which was convened by China in July, was attended by Pakistan, Nepal and Afghanistan, and then followed by the second South Asia multilateral dialogue in the month of November 2020. It was attended by China, Pakistan, Nepal, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. And the third one was on January 6, 2021, which was attended by all 5 countries, which has taken up the third multilateral South Asia multilateral dialogue. That is, the 5 countries which have attended is Pakistan, Nepal, Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. And if you look at in the second one, the second South Asia multilateral dialogue which has taken up in November, Afghanistan was not part of it. But in the third, Afghanistan was part of it. All 5 countries have attended the third multilateral South Asian dialogue. And the talks which have taken place in the multilateral dialogue, that is South Asian multilateral dialogue, is to deal the impact of the pandemic and to resume the economic and trade cooperation among the South Asian countries and to deal the non-traditional security challenges and advancing sustainable development. So to deal with the challenges of non-traditional security and the sustainable development were also discussed, the talk, and they have reached to an initial consensus through the third multilateral dialogue which was initiated by China with the South Asian countries. And if you look at the previous 2 rounds, that is the first and the second South Asian multilateral dialogues, the countries have discussed that they would work closely together under China's Belt and Road Initiative. So another keyword here is China's Belt and Road Initiative, that is BRI, so that it would boost the post-COVID-19 economic recovery. Here it is post-COVID-19 economic recovery is the key phrase. So by or working under the China's BRI, the countries of South Asian would boost their post-COVID-19 economic recovery. And the countries have also agreed that the land ports of all the countries of South Asian should establish a joint response mechanism and to have a greater information sharing and also to have a international cooperation between the South Asian countries. And the July quadrilateral dialogue, that is the first one multilateral South Asian dialogue, was between Afghanistan, Nepal and Pakistan, and in that China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi has proposed extending the China-Pakistan economic corridor even to Afghanistan, because as of now CPEC is only to China and Pakistan, but China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi has proposed extending the CPEC even further into Afghanistan. And not only that, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi has also proposed taking forward the economic corridor plan, not only extending to Afghanistan but also extending to Nepal, and terming it as the Trans-Himalayan Multi-Dimensional Connectivity Network. So as we have the CPEC, which is proposed by the China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi further to Afghanistan, and another economic corridor plan with Nepal is called as Trans-Himalayan Multinational or Multi-Dimensional Connectivity Network. So this is another economic corridor China's plan with Nepal. So extending CPEC to Afghanistan and coming up with a new economic corridor, that is Trans-Himalayan Multi-Dimensional Connectivity Network. So this is the third South Asian multilateral meet. So So this is as per the international relations, which could be part of the prelims and mains UPSC perspective for mains paper 2 also. And now we will look at the recapitulating of the DNA for the day, and this we have looked at. Now there is a possibility that Supreme Court might intervene and then look into the deadlock or the impasse or the inconclusive talks between the farmers and the government of India in regards to the three farm laws which are being declined by the farmer unions across India. And this we have looked at in regards to the internal security. The Lashkar-e-Taiba commander Zakir Rahman Lakshmi was sentenced to 5-year jail term for terror financing, but US says that Zakir Rahman Lakshmi should be tried even for Mumbai attacks. And this is as per the science and technology that the cluster has been launched in Hyderabad. And this is as per the findings of the study that severe stress onto the army personnel. And there is an urgent need for the highest level intervention by the union government to overcome the loss of the Indian army personnel, which is higher than attack by any enemy or terrorist activities. This can be also internal security, how India has to have an proposed plan to protect the Indian army personnel who are facing under severe stress and losing their lives. And this is as per the international relations that China has held the 3rd edition of South Asia Multilateral Meet. So I hope this session was an informative, knowledgeable session, and we have discussed as per the prelims and also mains UPSC perspective. So I would say a very big thank you to all and a good luck. And then do maintain consistency, stick to your schedule and take care of your physical health and mental health. And do not forget to like the video, share the video and subscribe the AKS IAS Academy English medium YouTube channel, and have access to the website and sign in to the Telegram link of AKS IAS Academy. And then I would see you again for the daily news analysis at AKS IAS Academy. So till then, goodbye, take care, thank you very much.